Hi, I'm Dan Keeney here at the 2013 Pulse Conference. I'm speaking with Scott Schuh. Scott is with the Federal Reserve Bank of Boston. Scott, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Dan. Glad to be here.
Presentation today had to do with trends in payment, something you studied there quite a bit.
Yeah, we've been studying it for almost 10 years. We have hard data in about 5 years, and we've been tracking consumer use of about 9 or 10 different types of payment instruments year in and year out.
And what is your research showing? I understand that you've done recent research that really has kind of shed some light on a few important items.
Sure. Probably the most interesting item is that shortly after the financial crisis, there was a big increase in cash use by consumers. And there was some question as to whether or not that would last, but it appears to have lasted. So there seems to be a permanent shift upward in the share of cash use, so that cash and debit are about even on a monthly basis for consumers.
And is that due to the ripple effects of behavior caused by what we saw in 2008, 2009?
It's a complicated issue, and we really haven't honed in on a solid finding yet.
We're open to speculate about it, though.
Well, the Fed has to be careful about speculating. Certainly, historically, consumers have been concerned with income and with interest rates. So interest rates have been low. That may have helped somewhat with cash holdings. But the income and the budgeting issue is another possibility, that perhaps people are returning to cash for that reason, to help manage their finances a little bit better.
So you're out speaking about these things to the financial services industry. For what reason? Why is the Fed doing that?
Yeah, that's a great question. We got into this business because we realized about 10 years ago, when people started moving away from checks, that we needed to understand better what all the players in the economy value in terms of a payment system. Historically, the Fed has been viewing banks as its primary customer because we provide payment services. But we realized we needed to understand banks' customers better. And part of the reason for that is it was almost prescient, is we began to be asked to do some regulations that involve consumers. For example, the debit interchange regulation. That really forced us to have to think even harder about what the right pricing, the right regulations are for payments, not only for financial institutions, but merchants and consumers as well.
You also talked a little bit about prepaid cards, and some of the information that you shared was very interesting. Can you just shine a light on that?
Debit cards clearly have replaced a lot of the check use, but they seem to have matured. Their adoption rates and their use rates have kind of leveled off in recent years. The one that's still moving a little bit is prepaid cards. But what's interesting about prepaid cards is they have similarities and differences with debit. And we're studying very closely, helping to understand how consumers understand those differences or not, and how they're making those decisions.
Wow. A lot of important information here at the 2013 Pulse Conference. Scott Schuh, thank you very much for joining us.
Sure, thanks, Dan.
And I'm Dan Keeney.